Selected verses for meditation on the Conquest of the Illuminating Void by Samael Aun Weor. The great masters of meditation transform their breathing into an inhaling process only. And even then, that is suspended. For scientists, this is impossible, but factual for the mystics. Thus, in such a state, the master engages in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, or Mahasamadhi. The eruption of the illuminating void comes, and one is precipitated into the great void, where nobody lives, and where is heard only the word of the Father, who is in secret. One achieves the eruption of the illuminating void with the condition that one must not think of absolutely anything. No thought, no desire, no memory must be admitted into the mind. The mind must be completely still, inside, outside, and in the center. Any thought, as insignificant as it might be, is an obstacle for samadhi, for ecstasy. You can empty your mind of all kinds of thoughts, for example, in order to make the voidness in the mind the total voidness, the absolute radical zero. If you want, you can. Yet, as long as there is in the mind, during meditation, the idea that you want to experience the illuminating void, then the voidness will continue to be a concept for you, and nothing more than a concept. When you achieve the voidness of the void, in which you will not even remotely, we might say, remember that you are meditating, but that you have indeed become the voidness itself, and have forgotten even the idea of voidness, then you will have experienced the Sunyata. When the consciousness is not bottled in the ego, then, free from the ego and outside of the physical body, it undoubtedly enters the illuminating void. It receives the Tao. If one eliminates the ego of fear, of terror, one can remain within the illuminating void without any concern. One will feel that one's individual aspect is dissolving. One will feel living in the stone and in the flower, in a distant star, and in the songbird of any world or planet, but will not fear. And if one does not fear, one will finally gravitate towards one's origin, with the consciousness, the essence, converted into a terrifically divine creature, beyond good and evil. One can be perched in the sacred absolute sun, and while there, within that sun, as a microcosmic star, will know all the mysteries of the universe. Because it is good to know that the universe itself, our entire solar system, is within the intelligence of the sacred absolute sun as an eternal instant. All phenomena of nature are processed within an eternal instant, within the intelligence of the sacred absolute sun. But if one fears, one will lose the ecstasy and will return into the dense form. Obviously, the illuminating void is beyond the body, emotions, and the mind. In a Zen meditation room in the East, a monk asked a Zen master, "Master, what is the illuminating void?" Zen texts state that the master kicked the disciple in the stomach, and that the disciple then fell inert. Thereafter, the disciple stood up and hugged the master. "Thank you, master. I have experienced the illuminating void." Nonsense, many would say, but it is not. What happens is that a very special phenomenon presents itself for the experience of the illuminating void. A chick, when ready to hatch, is helped by its mother, and she helps or assists the chick by pecking at the shell, and with this help, the chick keeps struggling to exit. Likewise, when someone has matured, he receives the help of the Divine Mother Kundalini and leaves the shell of the personality and the ego in order to experience the illuminating void. Meditation must be combined intelligently with concentration and drowsiness. Concentration mixed with drowsiness produces enlightenment. Many esotericists think that meditation in no way shall be combined with the drowsiness of the body. But those who think that way are wrong, because meditation without drowsiness ruins the brain. Always use sleep in combination with the technique of meditation, but a controlled sleep, a voluntary sleep. Not a sleep without control, not an absurd sleep, but meditation and sleep combined intelligently. We must ride on sleep and not let the sleep ride on us. If we learn how to ride on sleep, we will triumph. Yet, if sleep rides upon us, we will fail. But let us use drowsiness. Again, meditation combined with sleep takes our students to samadhi, to the experience of the illuminating void. One must practice daily. At what time? At the moment when we feel the intention of doing so, especially when we feel sleepy. Take advantage of it and meditate. If the disciple follows these instructions, they may one day receive the Tao. They may experience the truth. The path of profound meditation involves a lot of patience. Impatient people will never achieve success. One can never vividly experience the illuminating void as long as there is impatience within oneself. The eye of impatience has to be eliminated after having been comprehended. Let this be understood with clarity. If one acts so, one will receive the Tao. That is obvious. The experience of reality can never come to us as long as the consciousness remains embedded within the ego. The ego in itself is time. All of that multiplicity of ghostly elements to constitute the myself are a compendium of time. The experience of the illuminating void is the opposite. It is timeless. It is beyond time and mind. When one sits in a meditation room or simply at home to meditate, when one practices with this technique, one must forget the concept of time and live within the eternal instant. Those who engage in meditation and are waiting on the clock obviously fail to experience the illuminating void. If I were asked how many minutes a day we use for meditation, if it is a half an hour or 2, I would not answer. For if someone comes to meditation and is aware of time, that one cannot experience the illuminating void, because it is not of time. This would be something similar to a bird trying to fly while one leg is tied to a stone or a stick. The bird could not fly. There would be an obstacle. to experience the illuminating void, we have to free ourselves from every obstacle. Blessed is the one who manages to be precipitated into the illuminating void where no creature lives, because there is precisely where one will experience the reality, the truth. Perseverance is indispensable. Every day we must work thoroughly until achieving total triumph. The experience of the truth through meditation becomes prodigious. If one has experienced the truth, one is filled with strength to persevere in the work on oneself. As long as one has not experienced reality, one does not feel comforted, one does not feel strong enough to work on oneself, on the I itself. When one has really passed through such a mystical experience, one is different. Then, nothing can stop one's longing for liberation. One will work tirelessly on oneself in order to get indeed a radical, total, and definitive change. I do not mean that everyone, in one fell swoop, will experience the illuminating void. Obviously, one has to get to that experience by degrees. The devotee will increasingly feel the intimate impulse of the being. He will have several more or less lucid experiences, and finally the day will arrive in which he will come to have the best of experiences, the direct experience of the great reality. Then he will receive the Tao. Inferential peace.